get asked a lot about the $30 challenge, and it's a bit disheartening when I tell people that I'm only at about $1,000. The thing is, you have to spend money to make money. So I obviously started with the $30, and I've made it up to 3,000 or 4,000, and then now I'm back to 1,000. But the thing is, I've got a lot of parts and a lot of cars. I've done a bit of a stock take today, and I've got so many parts and so many cars. So I'm just going to talk about what the plan is for everything at the moment. So I've got heaps of bits. That's fine. They can sit there until they sell. That doesn't bother me. All of my actual wage is getting saved and going towards the house payments and hopefully saving for a shed. So I'll be getting a big shed built at some point. But the 30k challenge has kind of taken over the channel at the moment because I can't afford to do anything else. I can't afford to save for a shed and build my cars and pay for the house and do everything. So this is kind of where the channel is going to be until I get the hot rod. And the end plan is to pay for all of the mods to the hot rod from this $30 challenge as well. So if I want to put a different engine in it, that's going to be paid for by $30. If I want to put different wheels on it, that's going to be paid for from the challenge. So at the moment I have 17 cars, which is just outrageous. So for the challenge, I've got the brown K55, the red K30, which is going to scrap shortly, the orange K30 that I've just bought, the blue 55 that I'm selling. So there's 4 Corollas. I have swapped the K70 for a VY Commodore sedan, so there's that to sell. And then there's the 2 Ciors and the VS wagon and the K20 sedan. So a bunch of cars. So I'll just quickly run through what I'm going to do with all of those. So the K20 sedan, I don't want to scrap it because K20s are rare and they're getting harder and harder to get. And that shell is salvageable. There's a lot missing, but it could be a good drag car, or it could be a good drift car, or it could be probably not a road car again, but there's a lot of bits there that it could be used for repairing a race car or repairing someone's street car. So I don't want to bin it. I'm just going to keep it and hold on to it until I find someone who actually will appreciate it or use it. Or if I use it for myself, that's fine too. So then the red K30, that's completely stripped. It's going to scrap maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. I'm trying to get a trailer tomorrow night. I'll be putting K30 on that. So that's ready to go. The orange one, I'm going to try and fix it. So the front end's a bit rough. The 2 guards are a bit patchy. It's got no engine, no gearbox. Some of the interior is missing. So I'm going to try and put that back together enough that someone could register it and drive it. So pretty much what we did with the K70. That's the plan with the orange one. So use the parts from the blue one to build the orange one up. And then there's the brown 55. So that needs paint and bog. So I'll do that, and then that's ready to drive. So that's pretty much there as well. I just have to get a bit more time up my sleeve to finish it off. So the Commodore, the VY that I've just bought, I'm just going to sell that whole. I'll keep driving it and use it as a tow car for my trailer and scrap stuff and do some dump runs and stuff until the VN wagon is back registered. So that's almost there, but that's technically my personal car, not part of the challenge. So sell the VZ or VY, and then I've got the VS wagon, which is part of the challenge. I've taken all the parts I wanted off of that for the VN, and I've also swapped some of the interior parts that I didn't need for the VS from the VS for a tow bar for the VZ. So slowly getting rid of bits, I guess. I've advertised all those for sale as well, so hopefully that'll move on and pay for itself, and then I get all the bits for the VN for nothing. So if that doesn't work, then I'll end up having to pay out of my own pocket for the VS wagon. So that's fine as well. Then that brings us to the Ciors. So I've got the blue Cior, which is running driving, and the white Cior, which is airbagged. So the plan is to build those into one car. That's going to be down the track a bit. I just need a bit more time to start that and finish it pretty much. So I'm going to try and clean up the yard before I do that. So that's all the challenge cars. So on to our personal cars, so Emily's cars and mine. The blue Cior, which is Emily's car, I'm going to get stuck into that shortly, I think, once the yard's all sort of cleaned. and I get rid of this blue K30. So we got the turbo manifold back from Tim. He faced it for me, so that's really good. So the Sior needs the turbo manifold put back on, the turbo put back on. We've got a clutch and a flywheel for it now, which is a custom job that I got made for Em for Christmas. So she bought a ECU as well, so that's ready to go. So we pretty much need to do the exhaust and the charge pipes. So once that's done, we can pretty much just put everything back together. The car has run with the new engine, so that's not an issue at all. Just got to put it back together pretty much. So once I get started, that won't really take too long. Then once running, I'll take the charge pipes off, drive it to a mate of mine who can do the wiring, and then give him the charge pipes and everything, or keep them with the car. Give him the ECU, and he can rewire it for me to suit the new ECU, which is a Link, I'm not sure on the model. Then drive it to Garage 7, which is my local tuner. Those guys are awesome. So we'll go there, get tuned, and then it's done pretty much. We may engineer it down the line, but that's future problems. My personal cars, the VN wagon is almost done. I just got to put some interior back in it, which is currently in it, but I need to put it on the interior. Clean it out, and clean underneath it, and just give it a good old once over. Then take it through to get Regency inspected, or the ID inspection, which should be reasonably easy, fingers crossed. If not, then I'll end up with a project to do something with, because if that can't get registered, I'm in a bit of strife with that one. The Lexus I'm trying to sell still. Emily's Lexus, she's still driving, so she's happy with that. And then my other cars are all just sitting at the moment. The Stout is hopefully going to get some love this year, but that's sort of once the shed's up, then I might get stuck into it again. But the Crown's like super close. It just needs money. I've got a bunch of parts that I can install that don't need any money, but that last little push to get it like back on the road is going to cost a fair bit. So the Stout is sort of in the same problem. I've got most of the parts. It just needs a bit of rust work and then wiring and a tune, and it's just money. So there's a lot of work I can do to both of those, but everything costs a little bit. So sort of just prioritizing at the moment to try and save as much money as I can. Then the K16, that probably won't happen this year as much as I'd like it to. The K10, if it gets painted, then I may do something with it. Probably not this year either. And then the Dodge cab, it got burnt in the bushfires in South Australia, so I actually got paid out for insurance for that. But I managed to keep the cab, so I've still got the chassis and I've still got a cab. It's a little bit worse than it was, but it's still reasonably good. So the plan is to bring that to my house shortly, once all the yard's all done. Hopefully get that on the chassis this year. Probably won't start the project because that's just money, so that can sit until the Stout and the Crown are done. So onto the house, we've got a fair bit more to do with the house. The main thing being the shed next, I think. So that's probably going to be the best part of like $40,000. So I'm not sure where that's coming from, but that's going to be a big deal, and we're going to have to go through council and get it put up and get concrete done and wiring and all that sort of stuff, and then get the yard landscaped and all that sort of stuff. So put up some fences and scratch everything back, put up some fences, put the shed up, do lawns and gardens and rainwater tanks and all that sort of stuff. I need to finish the gate because it's currently like 99% done, and I'm slack and I let everything get to 90% done and then don't touch it. And then we've got a bit more wiring to do in the inside, and the pantry doors, which are almost done. So that's about it with the house, I think. There's a few little things here and there that I just haven't had or haven't given the time to, so I need to do that. So I need to go through the shed, pull everything out of the shed again, organise my tools and get my tools from my mum's house and actually set up a workshop, because at the moment everything's just on the floor, which is kind of my style, but I don't like it. So I got the blue Corolla all chopped up. So I took that rear quarter off for a mate of mine. He's going to buy a two-door K30 with the rear quarter all smashed in. So that should be good help for him. And then the rest of it is pretty much useless. So sorry if you needed bits, but you were too slow. So it's all strapped down. Let's go to the scrapyard. So the next topic is the goals for myself and the challenge for 2020. So I'd really like to get the shed at least underway or at least up. It doesn't have to be concrete at all wired, but I'd love to get that done this year and get the fence up in the backyard and start segregating all my parts and everything from the house and the backyard, because currently you walk out the back door, which is just there, and you walk straight into crawler stuff and tools. So I'd love to get the shed up. I can put the cars in there, and then if we have the fence up between the backyard, we're going to have a fence running across the backyard, and then the back half will be like the scrapyard, junkyard, chop shop thing, and then the front half will be just lawn and for Harley to run around in, and like a nice backyard with a veranda and stuff. So 2020 will be good to have the shed up and the fence up, and then start organising the backyard. I'd love to get the crown running again, but that's going to be a bit of a push with the way the work's going, but we'll see how we go. Emily's car will be done this year, like no questions asked, because it's January and there's probably like a month's work in it, so that's happening. I'd like to get rid of the 5 Corollas that I've got at the moment. Maybe not the K20, but the other ones. I'd love to finish them and get them gone. And the Sior, I'd love to get that finished because that'd be really cool. I'm going to airbag that the whole way around, so I'm going to buy front shock airbags and another set of valves and get it all the way around, so it actually sits on the floor, because at the moment it's just the back. So that's definitely going to happen this year as well. And then the Dodge cab on the chassis and the A-frame stood up, and then the whole backyard cleaned and the whole front yard scraped back, and start actually trying to get a lawn going and making the place look presentable. As for the 30k challenge, we've been doing it for about 6 months at the moment, 6 to 8 months at the moment. I started on the 16th of the 7th, 2019, so it's currently the 2nd of February, 2020. So we're getting there. We do have a lot of stuff. So I'm hoping maybe within a year from now, so say 18 months total, I'd be very solidly on my way. If the right car pops up and I am close to the right amount of money, so say a car pops up for 25 grand and I've got 20 grand, if it is what I want, I'm just going to buy it if I've got the cash. And then I'll continue working the challenge until I've got that extra 5 grand, because sometimes deals pop up and you just have to take them, whether you can make it happen or not at the time. So the plan is to sell the Lexus, drive the VN wagon, and then I can tow my trailer, I can put stuff in the back, and I can do the 30k challenge reasonably easy when I've actually be able to pick up things myself. At the moment I have to borrow Dad's car if it's bigger than a suitcase, pretty much. So if I need an engine or whatever, I need to go and get Dad's car. So that's probably it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.